Yes. So, first we'll begin our session with an invocation of our dear student, a song and a performance, beautiful performance of our dear student, says from BA Humanities, Priya. And let me share the screen. So, thank you for your kind attention, and it's a divine presentation, an excellent performance. So, let's begin our session. First of all, namaste. Thank you so much for joining us in this beautiful morning. Greetings. On behalf of School of Humanities and Social Sciences of Raffles University, Rage Global Foundation, USA, I, Ranhir Gautam, welcome everybody. It's a great pleasure and indeed an honor to have available to us our distinguished speakers, Professor Prasenjit Biswas, Dr. Suneet Madan, and Dr. Anju Singh. Welcome, all of you. I would like to extend a very warm welcome to our Chief Patron, Honorable Justice Dr. Binali Wombar, former Chief Justice of Rajasthan High Court, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Raffles University, Professor Divakar Kohli, Chief of Rage Global Foundation USA, Ms. Deepika Dave, and all the respected participants. You know, today is the second day of online digital marketing workshop, and this online digital workshop will contest diverse approaches to thinking about the scope and opportunities of digital marketing. Yesterday, we got unprecedented response from a student, marketing and agency professional, influencer and content creator, marketing students, those who are looking for more effective forms of advertising and are generally interested in understanding the new and evolving digital media landscape. So first, let me give a brief introduction of our first speaker, Dr. Suneet Madan. I would request Dr. Devendra Tiwari to kindly show a PowerPoint presentation. Please move. Yes. So, Dr. Suneet Madan is a doctorate from CEPT University, Ahmedabad, and holds a master degree in two streams. First in design, visual communication from Indian Institute of Technology, IIT Bombay. She holds another degree, master degree in mass communication. Dr. Madan has been working for more than 20 years with Center for Development of Advanced Computing, C-DAC. She is currently a Joint Director and Head of Department of Human Computer Interface Division at C-DAC, Mohali. She has executed projects in healthcare, defense and e-governance at center and state levels with Ministry of External Affairs, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, and a large number of departments of the state government of Punjab and Haryana. So welcome you, ma'am. I would like to invite you for your presentation.
Thank you, Dr. Gautam. Good morning, everyone. It is my pleasure to hold this talk. It is my pleasure to hold this talk in front of this August gathering. And thank you for the invitation, Dr. Gautam. It is going to be essentially a talk. I don't think it would be out of place to say good morning, netizens, that out of 4.7 billion are active internet users worldwide, which is to around 8% of global population. And of these media platforms worldwide. And considering the theme of this webinar and the audience that we have, most of us here are amongst those 60% active internet users. So yeah, we make up the strength of the active users worldwide. Large number of statistical figures, yet I am going to bombard you with some relevant data that will help put in perspective the title of my talk, which is Digital Art in New Media, and which I'm talking about today. Let us consider the most prominent social media platform. You all are aware that most of us are on Facebook, right? Now, Facebook has around 890 million people logging into on a daily basis. The average time spent by each user on Facebook per day is 21 minutes. There are around 4.5 billion Facebook likes every day. And on an average, 350 million photographs are uploaded daily on Facebook. So now you understand the importance of this topic, digital art and new media. 10 billion Facebook messages are sent each day. Now, if you compare it to Instagram, which is the social media platform for the millennials, and considering that we are targeting the students today, so this is the social media platform for the millennials like you. Instagram has around 1.15 billion active users, of which 500 million are active users of Instagram stories. 59% of the content on 15% of content is in video posts. And because of the demographic user profile of Instagram, the most of the NASA and so on. What do these mind-boggling numbers reflect? What do these statistics reflect? This essentially means that being digital has become the lifeblood for everyone across the globe. So be it a small-time entrepreneur or a large firm, everybody has to become a digital being. Millennials, since we're concentrating on them, millennials spend around 2 hours, 38 minutes on social media daily, according to the Global Web Index survey. And due to pandemic, the number of hours that we are spending using digital media is roughly around 42% of our waking lives. Imagine, so this is like almost close to half of the time that we are online. If the current growth rates continue through 2021, as per a report from Data Reportal, the world's internet users will spend almost around 12 trillion hours online this year, which translates to more than around 1.3 billion years of combined human life. Now, let's take, for example, your own routine. As students, since the pandemic, since your classes have become online, the number of hours being spent on digital media has also increased considerably. Add to it your gaming, the online media for entertainment, or interaction with friends, and shopping online. You will notice that you're actually spending a lot more time as compared to, say, 2 years back, year 2019. No wonder Indians have suffered from more eye-related issues, as per one of the news articles, which was recently there in the newspaper. Well, pandemic has changed drastically the dynamics. Inadvertently, this is the future, and there is no looking back. With the number of hours being spent online, have you imagined how much visual content you are glancing on or consuming each day? Now, think about it. think about all the number of hours you spend watching InShots, WhatsApp, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook. Try observing what all are you noticing, what all are you watching, what all captures your attention, what attracts you, what makes you read on, and why you skip a particular story. It is the engaging or eye-capturing visuals which actually hold you back. So there is no going away from the visuals. And from the digital marketing perspective, design and visual content is the biggest challenge for most of the content marketers. Close to 50% of marketers rate visual marketing as very important to their marketing strategy. As you are aware, our brains retain the maximum information when visuals are clubbed with textual content. A picture is worth 1,000 words, you would remember. Besides, let me take you back to the textbooks. Wherever we had diagrams in the books, we could retain that information much more as compared to the blank textbooks. So, which is where the drastic comparison between science books and the history books is there. The content in science books is more easier to retain, though it's, yes, logical, you retain it. But since history is a complete text-based content, so you end up retaining more of what is visually presented to you. Now, as per Springer, it has been observed that people who follow directions with text and illustrations do 323% times better follow directions without instructions. What more proof do we need for visuals being the key to communication? Another way to interact with your audience is now with the use of live videos. 57% of the marketers use live videos to reach out to their target audience. And these live videos mean a lot more visual and interactive content as compared to photographs or infographics or any other static images. That is why live videos are trending as on date. If you include AR and VR based outreach content, the impact and retention levels are considerably higher. I think it's pretty logical to understand that. It is because they have the power to engage you on multiple sensory levels. And engagement, my friends, is the key word when it comes to digital marketing. According to HubSpot, 70% of the companies invest in content marketing.
Sorry to interrupt, but your video is lagging. I think there is a network problem. So could you mute your video and just play your audio so that, yes.
Sure. That'll be a good idea.
It's clear. It's clear.
Yeah, now. I was mentioning about, is it better? Great.
Yes. So
better. I was mentioning about, how the companies are actually investing more in content marketing, which could include visual marketing strategies as well. Now, everyone cannot be expected to be an ace designer or artist or a photographer. And that is why perhaps as per Wengage, 40% of marketers use stock photographs. These are available to us and they are on some of these are free, right? And there are a couple of stock photographs which are available on a considerable cost. Yet we have many people who claim to be using original graphics and videos for their presentations. Whichever way, on an average, the creators of visual content spend around 5 hours per day on creation of visuals. These statistics clearly indicate that visuals play an extremely vital role in effective communication. This aspect was true yesterday, it will rule today and all the tomorrows to come. Visuals will rule the roost, and there is no escaping from creation of more and more visual data. The most popular catchword is data is the new oil. Now, this is apt for the industry 4.0, but this data is not the textual data alone. As per statistics available on Seed Scientific website, electronic arts, which actually covers your gaming, etc. as well, electronic art process roughly around 50 terabytes of data every day. Do you understand how humongous this number is? The World Economic Forum mentions that in the beginning of 2020, the number of bytes in the digital universe was 40 times bigger than the number of stars in the observable universe. Wow. Can you begin to fathom the volume of this digital creation? There has been a humongous increase in creation of digital art over the years, especially in the new media age. In 1984, Rice had defined new media as an interaction between the user and information. Now, if you think about social media as a relatively new term, you will be surprised to know that the first recognizable social media website was 6 Degrees, and it was created way back in 1997. It enabled users to upload a profile and make friends with others online. This essentially means that around time when Indians were waking up to the internet revolution, I remember, we were in IIT around 1995, and we were amongst the first ones to use, our design skills on the internet-based applications. Now, when we were actually, as Indians, we were waking up to the internet revolution, someone somewhere had already thought of connecting friends and strangers across the globe. I would like you students to actually go back and read more about 6 degrees of separation theory, if you haven't already read about it. It is very important when it comes to even digital marketing perspective. Now, in an article posted in Courant, if I'm not mistaken, Win Crosby, way back in 2002, mentioned that new media is individuation media or many-to-many media. Some examples are computer animations, computer games, human-computer interfaces, websites, virtual worlds, interactive computer installations. In short, participative media or the user-generated media, where the user is the consumer as well and the creator of content. It is called new media. Blogs, social media websites, we call Facebook and Twitter as social media websites. YouTube, Instagram, Wikipedia, and the band TikTok. I'm sure you would all be missing that, though it is important from perspective of our security that we have to do away with it. Faster execution of algorithms in new media actually make possible many new forms of media art, such as interactive media, the augmented and the virtual reality applications. Now, why am I defining all these? So that you understand the kind of scope which is there in front of you as the upcoming digital marketers. Growth in new media industry is congruent to the growth in many other market segments. Now, these market segments specifically are which relate to the new media. I'm not talking about the FMCG and the other stuff. The pandemic has actually fast forwarded the future for us. there has been a multifold growth in some of the sectors like education, immersive technologies, digital devices, and the likes. So the kind of market growth that was expected to be in 2025 is already happening now. The kind of proliferation we anticipated for the AR/VR market 5 years from now is actually happening now. Since I have dabbled with the AR/VR, avenue of working in my organization, that's why I can tell you how things are actually booming. Something that we anticipated to happen a few years from now is now being done. Exactly, Saurabh, Bitcoin as well. But Bitcoin has now moved on to crypto. So the happening things, I'm getting a message, so I'm responding to that in the chat. So what is it that you as a digital marketer should be concerned of when it comes to creating the visual content? The key features of new media that are important for a digital marketer to focus on and which affect the kind of visual content that is created to push across a message effectively to the target audience are convergence, interactivity, user power, and accessibility. That means being accessible over different devices. Wherein the gap between the media producer and media consumer is almost redundant, where the audience or the user, because audience and the user are almost interchangeable over here, they can be engaged pretty well. Along with these features, I've already used the term engage. Now, this is very important from the digital marketer's perspective, because it is important to engage the user on multi-sensory levels. That is, to make it more immersive. This means creating interactive and high-resolution visuals. Could be using 2D or 3D animations, or in the form of games, or like current trend of using AR/VR applications, which could be coupled with data-driven or artificial intelligence-based applications. Now, you would be aware of digital display advertising, which is actually a form of digital marketing that uses display ads on web pages to communicate relevant commercial messages to a specific audience based on their profiles. Now, how does this get captured? Large number of algorithmic operations make it appear like a seamless or logical integration with the website or application. It may be noted that a lot of research goes into producing these seemingly effortless advertising messages. Now, this is where you as a digital marketer has to keep tab on. Apart from the associated UX or the UI, keep it simple, stupid formula. That's the design principle. It is the most effective. The simpler the message or the visual, the more complex is the background effort that goes into its creation. Now, a simple exercise that you can try out in this regard is take around 2 paragraphs of content and try reducing it to only 2 lines of content. You will know why it is tougher to keep it simpler. I request the trainers over here to actually make the students do this, once you have the classes on. It'll be really helpful for the from the writing perspective as well. Now, if anyone thinks that creating visuals is a no-brainer, they are in for a big surprise. Usually, when you are in an organization, you're told that, 2 minutes to lagna hai, jaldi se bana dijiye. No, it is not 2 minutes lagna hai. It is about so many aspects of visuals which go into it. Nothing, I repeat, nothing is possible without effective visuals and their visualization. And this visualization actually requires a lot of research. This is not only about the subject matter, It is also about the kind of target audience we have, what kind of font will be used, what kind of visual will go into it, what kind of montage or collage will be included in that particular digital art. It will be a good idea for you students to actually research about what kind of research goes into creating even the most simplest of visuals. So I gave you an exercise on writing. You could actually have something for the visuals as well. This brings me to the role of a digital art director. Digital art director as a profession was relatively unheard of almost a decade ago. With enhanced global technological consumption and the social media proliferation, the digital art market has now increased prolifically. Now here I'm referring to digital art as the visuals created from the perspective of a digital marketer, and not as what the professional artists do for a living. So that, just to make you understand this a little more, though the concepts being discussed are more or less similar, just that the professional artist can afford to make these more abstract and philosophical, which is not entirely possible for a digital marketer. Directness in message and execution works better for the time-crunched netizens. So which is again brings me back to the point of simplification of message, simplification of visuals and the textual content. Apart from strategizing and planning of online campaigns, the digital art director should understand the nitty-gritties of creating an optimized user experience. He should be able to articulate his vision to the designer for creating intuitive visuals and interactions for consumption of intended audience. Why intuitive and interactive? So that we could actually capture multiple sensories of a user. Because more the senses that go into the understanding, more engaging it is going to be. Joe Sperano mentions that good design is obvious, but great design is transparent. And this is where the core strength and skill of the digital art director lies. The visuals should be able to stand out of the crowd, and they should be able to create an enduring emotional impression. Let me share an example of the client we are servicing without naming the client. The outreach expected was a population of around 3 crores with the defined demographic profiles. The drivers of the campaign had to be young citizens who were to be educated about certain policies and information that could be of interest to them and others. And it was expected that they would further proliferate the information to the older generation as well as to their peers. Now, the visuals had to be designed in such a manner that we largely address the youth, which means that the visuals and textual content of the message had to be kept to the bare minimum. But it was to be made intuitive enough to capture their attention. And since these circulation channels would have been more or less for both, the details were added in the text form attached to the visual. Now, the text too had to be maintained to the bare minimum, say around 8 to 10 sentences, considering that we had the outreaching happening on the social media. And there, that's a place where no one has enough time. And since most of the marketing now is happening digitally, it also means that these are the only platforms essentially available to us to reach out to them effectively. Do you see the change in dynamics? Vis-a-vis when you compare it to the traditional media? It has to happen now. So the action required, call to action, is actually happening in the moment of creation, in the moment of presentation, as soon as you upload. So you have to find out ways and means to ensure that the information reaches your target profile in the most succinct, engaging, and direct manner. Otherwise, running the campaign would become futile. For the cap bearer of digital art director's role, the individual would require to have a healthy mix of, and now you can go on counting. I repeat that to be an effective digital art director, you would require a healthy mix of being a psychologist, a researcher, a philosopher, cognitive behavior scientist, mind reader, demographic expert, someone who's got some statistics background, a brand strategist, a marketing wizard, somewhat a technocrat or a developer, a photographer, a content writer, a design consultant, and maybe an intellectual property rights advisor, all rolled into one. So be ready to don these different hats, and these are much required hats, and to be donned at the same time if you wish to be successful in the field of digital marketing. And with the pandemic, the online education system has pushed open the avenues for wider requirements and acceptance of digital art, which is used for creation of graphics, diagrams, infographics, animations, and other interactive and visual forms. There are a plethora of applications available to produce good quality and interactive visuals and animations in today's screen-dominated world. These WYSIWYG software applications, WYSIWYG means what you see is what you get. So these actually make the entire application look very simple. You are able to grasp the icons and then create your visuals, or the coding is actually all hidden inside. So these are called the WYSIWYG applications. Now for your designing, there are so many applications which are available, which churn out faster and on-the-go designs and interactions. Some of these are Canva, Pablo, Adobe Spark, iStock Editor, Landscape. You could check out, most of these have got free options as well. So you could take the free options or the demo versions to check out what suits your skill set more. It is also pertinent here to mention that the basic ingredient to creation of digital art remains the same as creating the traditional art form. Thinking out of the box or using divergent thinking creatively, and most importantly, aligning your ideas to the times and the trending news and information. Why do I say that? That is because unless your visuals stand out, unless your visuals are contemporary, unless you take up the information which is up in the market or up everywhere on the digital media or elsewhere, and is connecting with people, if you don't take up those kind of visuals, you will fail to convey the message. It'll get lost in the digital jungle. So you have to be upbeat and not remain stuck to one field. You have to know what the world is about. Now, talking about trends, another important implementation of digital art is in the augmented reality applications. It can be stated that digital art increases the proximity between the object of art and its audience. Let me give you an example. I'm sure you would have used avatars in Snapchat or Instagram, especially for light entertainment with your family and friends. When you're clicking photographs with those bunnies and everything coming up on your faces. These are some of the examples of AR being used on social media websites and other new media applications. And just like there were trends in traditional art, digital art too is governed by trends. For example, now the trend is of influencer marketing, live videos, creation of mobile videos, or artificial intelligence-based, personalized, interactive, and immersive content. If we talk about today, the prominent contemporary design and creative trends are influenced by testing times of the pandemic. Some of the trends are usage of visuals depicting compassion, collectiveness, positivity, freedom, using bright colors, and something like dreamlike visuals, geometric minimalism, or depicting the visual splendor. The color palettes also embrace the similar mind view, which is the grounding hues or the pastels, and at times the unexpected eclectic ones. The basic premise behind their creation remains the same. That is, the elements, these should have the elements of originality, aesthetics, wonder, and functionality. Though formal education in coding, and designing is not necessary as such, but available tools actually help you if, when you talk about leveraging a good design over the bad ones, it is important to have a formal education which goes behind it. So because a good design is going to stand out based on your level of expertise, research, and experience that goes into the creation. And that is why the formal education in digital marketing is going to provide you a better and required leverage over the rest of the graduates. So on this note, I conclude my session. And I just hope that you have enough takeaways from it and enough avenues to research on. To go back, just read about 3 P's of digital marketing, 5 P's of digital marketing, 3 C's of communication. And when you're writing your content, do remember 5 W's and 1 H. And you'll never go wrong with your message. And this, perhaps the teachers could take up later. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the beautiful, excellent, informative, and thought-provoking session. And I think, and very, it's like to the point and accurate, full of so many new insights. So I think I have one question in the chat box. I can see one person is asking about how do you think that art is affected by its presence on online?
See, the media is going to remain, like I said, the shift on media is there. So traditional media forms presented art in certain manner, and the digital forms present in a different manner. Now, when I talk about the media art, which was in the traditional form, it still carried the same principles, and the principles continue to be there in the current form. But now when it comes to the online media, importance over here is to make the art interactive and engaging on a multi-sensory level. So which is where the essential difference lies. Our previous media art was based on the machine to the, or the device to the user. Now it is many to many levels. Now this many to many levels also converts into the device and also converts to the user. Like I said, the user is the generator of content as well. So you need to make it more interactive. You need to make it more sensory. You need to make it more engaging and immersive. That's the real difference. Though essentially, like I said, the principles are going to remain the same. The way to present is going to change a little bit different.
So thank you, and I would request respected participant, if you have any question, just inbox. Yes. William Siflo, and he's asking, what metrics do you use when measuring campaign success?
Again?
What metrics do you use when measuring campaign success?
Metrics for the campaign success, media campaign success.
Yes, media campaigns.
Okay, see what happens is, when we discuss about the digital campaign, thankfully, the kind of algorithms which are available to us, there are aplenty. You are able to now go behind, they're freely available metrics which are there. The host service provider also provides you with something like how the traffic was there, whether the the organic search happened more, or whether it was the previous visitors which are coming back, or there is some new traffic which is being diverted from a particular website and coming to yours. So those included, which means essentially what I'm talking to, if I have to use the keywords, this is the organic search, the direct search, the direct traffic, the user demographics, or the search rankings, to name broadly.
Yes, thank you. And I would request you to also please be there, because today's third talk, in which Professor Prasenjit Biswas is also going to talk about digital, philosophy of digital, if Francis Lorwell's idea of, against the digital. So he will also going to talk about some of the very philosophical related concepts. So now I'm going to invite the second speaker. Yes, we'll have another time, Now I'm going to invite, yes, can you show me the PowerPoint presentation, Dr. Devendra? Yes. Dr. Anju Singh, yes, yes. Dr. Anju Singh, Dr. Anju Singh, ma'am, welcome. Yes, and she will be talking about affiliate marketing. Let me give a brief introduction of Dr. Anju Singh. She obtained PhD from University of Rajasthan, MBA from Banastali Vidyapith, MCom from EAFM, and Master in Industrial Psychology from IGNOU. Dr. Anju currently working as Assistant Professor, Department of Finance Studies, IIS, deemed to be University, Jaipur. He is also NSS Program Officer and the core member of Diwani organization working for women empowerment. Her area of interest are like behavior, finance, economics, entrepreneurship, development, consumer behavior, and finance technology. And she has connected with 12 years of teaching and research experience, published more than 20 research papers and guided research endeavors and projects. So now I would like to invite Dr. Anju Singh. Ma'am, you are muted. Kindly unmute.
Okay,
Yes.
Okay. Am I audible now?
Yes, you are audible.
Yeah. Thank you,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Kabir, and Thank you for inviting me. And thank you, Dr. Suneet, for having such a wonderful session. It works as a very good background for the next sessions, which I will be talking about, because you talked about a lot of data of the current, conditions of the digital world currently. Everybody is part of that digital world of any age group. So you have intensively talked about it. So I get a very good background for the presentation which I will be sharing. I will be talking about affiliate marketing. So let me first share my presentation. Okay, so I hope it is visible.
Yes, it is visible.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so this is a terminology which we are, in day-to-day life may not be using, but we are very well aware about it. So this is affiliate marketing. Let's discuss what it is. So as it is very rightly said that affiliate marketing has made businesses millions and ordinary people millionaires. So how has it done it? So as Dr. Suneet talked about, use of this particular digital media. So we as an ordinary individuals can earn from this through this as well, and we have earned, we are moving on into that era where every ordinary person is a celebrity in some sense, if I can use the right word. So we have our own YouTube channels, we have our own blogs, we have our own places or spaces where we talk about intensively with lot of things. So we have our own people who really are influenced by us. We talked about the influencers as well. So that is this particular model all about affiliate marketing. So it is a model for the ordinary people like us. We can earn a lot from it, and what it is all about. Let's talk about it. So affiliate marketing is that when you are earning by marketing the product and services of any company or any advertiser, so that is affiliate marketing. We all have our own social media channels. We have our own YouTube channel at times. We have our blogs. We also have our Instagram accounts. We have a Facebook account. These accounts initially are not intended to open with an aim of earning. It is a social media accounts. Of course I want to socialize, but there are some individuals who actually hold that quality of influencing people, those who have those qualities wherein their words are so strong enough that they can build easily gain the trust of the people, and they can build a large audience around themselves. So specifically for those individuals who can have that kind of aura, who have the ability to influence a lot of people, to create a lot of different sort of people around themselves who are interested in listening to them and talking to them. So this is specifically for those people, that is affiliate marketing, wherein you on your social media account, you earn by marketing a product or a service of some individual as well. So this is, let's move forward about it. So why is it becoming more popular? Let's talk about it, why it is so popular. And we all know that it is popular, and everybody, every morning, every day, I think every one of us watches a YouTube channel, which we are very much interested in every way, which we have become habitual of, right? We are habitual of some Instagram accounts, we are some habitual of some YouTube channels, we are habitual of some blogs. We read them every day at least once. So let's talk about the popularity of this particular model. So we are online every day these days. The pandemic, and before pandemic also, the millennials have started digitalizing everything. Their entire life is digital. In fact, if they want to talk to the parents in the next room, they will of course use a device these days. So we are all living on these digital medias and online platforms every day, and we are extensively using social media to connect with our friends, family, loved ones. We connect with them through social media. We connect with those people with whom we might not physically meet. Face-to-face interaction might be very low with them, but yes, they're there in your friend list, in any of your social media account. So that is the kind of that is the kind of hugeness we can talk about. The social media is, it's very huge, it has a very big role, you can't escape from it. You can be in the rural in India, you can be in the modern urban India, you see YouTube channels of rural areas, they're very well presenting the life of a village. So social media is there in every part of country, every part of country. So that makes it more popular, because this sort of advertising, this sort of marketing will reach everyone, of all the people of different age group. It will reach everybody, using having different interest, all genders, male and female, youth, millennials, everybody, it reaches everybody. So this is one thing which makes it more popular, because it has a higher reach. So second important thing is that the consumer, if you are advertising, if a celebrity is advertising, it is a different thing. We are well aware that he is being paid for it, for advertising it. You might also be aware that, that particular celebrity is just advertising the product, promoting the product, may not be using it in the real life. But when an ordinary person talks about a product, we listen to it more, because we really identify them with them very well. So this is one important parameter which makes it very popular among the various affiliate programs and various e-commerce firms who really want their product to reach every individual. So it is a very good way of promoting a product, because we are promoting a product to the ordinary audience through an ordinary audience. So that is one very important aspect of this affiliate marketing. So of course, people who are there connected with me will because of this personalized referral take benefits, will have more trust. So it becomes very easy for me to promote a product, and it becomes very easy for the person who is very close to me to try that product, just because I have told her to, because there's a sort of trust we have among ourselves. So I'm here talking only about one aspect, but we can of course utilize it on a broader arena, wherein I have my own social media account, I have my own YouTube channels, and I have millions of subscribers. So at in a 5-minute video, I will be able to cater thousands of views, and of course these thousands of views can be converted into the buyers of the product. At least they will visit the site. Do I require a very big investment in it? No, I don't think so. It is requiring any big investment. I already have my blogs, I may have my own YouTube channel, I may have my Instagram account. I have it, everybody has it. And what you do is you don't have to make any big investment, but of course the investment which is made by you is your time. So if you want to make it part of your profession, something which can be into a monetized or revenue model, if you want to convert it, you will have to give a little extra time to it. You have to design it more creatively in a manner that you are able to influence the audience in a right manner, because now you aim your account to be converted into something which will give you something. It's a win-win for both of the people. Like, it is a win-win for the company or the advertiser. If they're winning, that they easily get a lot of audience which is there in my account. It is a win situation for me as well. As an influencer, it can be very helpful for me, because I already have an account. I already have subscribers who will be watching me, who will be listening to me, who have trust in me. That is why they have been there. So that is one audience which already is available there. I have to just put up a little bit more effort, and of course I can convert my social media account into something which will give me revenue. So moving forward, if we talk about how does it work, how does affiliate marketing actually works. So there are 3 important parties in an affiliate marketing. We have the consumer, which we focus upon, that is why it is on the top. Then we have the publisher or the affiliate, and we also have the company or the advertiser. The company or the advertiser is the one who is willing to advertise the product, promote the product through social media platforms, and you are the one who are there already on social media, have a good impact in social media, have been there for a longer period of time. And, you know, these companies and advertisers might be watching you, and, you know, your stay period on social media, your sort of influence on the social media, and they get connected with you directly, or you may connect with them, you know, through an affiliate program, which we will be talking about later. And together we basically are attracting the customers, the already existing users of your account, and also the people who will be coming there, all the traffic, which social media traffic which comes to your account. So the company which is basically interested in selling a particular sort of product will look upon a publisher of the affiliate or the social media account holder who is, you know, well related to that product, you know. So an account holder who is into fitness, the company selling fitness goods or healthy goods would be, of course, you're connecting with those affiliates and publishers who are, you know, having an account in which they promote healthy habits, or who talk about health benefits, or who talk about fitness a lot. So that will be the appropriate person doing that. So this is the model through which this particular, you know, affiliate marketing works. And you know, the company gets the benefit of the already existing users and the customers which the affiliate or the publisher has there on his account, and he's been influencing millions of people. We will be discussing about them. We will be looking at some examples also, wherein we can see that how they have been able to influence a lot of people through various accounts. So with this, you know, of course, we have talked about them, but, you know, now I'm very much aware that why should I be interested in entering into something like that, which is affiliate marketing. Like already we have talked about that it is something which is a low cost or no cost business. You give your time, you use your skills, your influencing skills, your marketing skills. Because it is low cost or there's no cost, at times you will be having at very low risk, and it is of course scalable. There are people who are earning a lot who have actually taken this medium as to be their only way of earning. So, you know, they are entering entirely into it. Many females who have very strong, who are very strong influencers, have left everything, and in their home, they're working from home, and they're using this method for earning. So that is a wonderful thing about it, that you do not require any large office space or, you know, large equipments or infrastructure if you want to run this. So affiliate marketing can be run by anybody or everybody who thinks that you have the capability to promote a product. And, you know, of course, it gives you flexible hours. I can record a video any time of the day, whenever I feel suitable. I can take those products which I'm interested and I'm not interested. I won't take any one of them. So there's a lot of flexibility in it. You're not, you know, you're not being bounded by any of the criteria, more or less. Of course, when it becomes a revenue model, so little boundaries are being set for, because you want to earn from it. Otherwise, there is a lot of flexibility in this model, and you don't have to run after, you know, after supports also. You just have to promote the product. The consumer will either buy it or just it will convert into a lead. You don't have to make any extra effort for the for after sales services and all. So this is one thing which makes it more interesting, more easy, and these are the different reasons why I would be interested in entering into something like that, affiliate marketing. So let's have a small question for the audience now. So what have we understood about affiliate marketing? So is it something which attract customers which are price conscious, or is it an online subscription model, or is it something which helps to generate most online revenue for a business, or is it an additional revenue model? So if I could see the audiences, answering these questions. Anybody interested? I mean, I can't see the chat box, of course. Let me. Okay, so the answer to this is that it is an additional revenue model. It is not something which you can only depend upon if you talk about a company or a business. You cannot entirely depend upon it. I'm sorry if somebody was answering, I couldn't hear, so I can't even see the chat box. So, I couldn't see the response of the people. I'm so sorry if I have been a little quick in answering this. So I'm so sorry. So yeah, we are able to attract customers which are price conscious, and it is an online subscription model, helps to generate most online revenue. No, it is an additional revenue model. You can't entirely depend upon this to earn revenue. It is an additional revenue model only. You can't completely depend upon it. Okay, so but it is a very good option. Okay, so these are some of the affiliate marketing companies very popularly, and there are also some affiliate programs which are run by these companies. These are some popular brands: Flipkart, Amazon, eBay. I have just sorted down on the basis of something. So Shopify, Comly, Paymon. These are some of the companies which are running an affiliate program. So you might ask a question, what is an affiliate program then? So affiliate program is a free program wherein if Amazon is running a affiliate program, you enter into that affiliate program. It is free of cost. You don't have to register or put up some money into it. It is a free program. You contact with them, and you become their affiliate or the publisher, and you can further promote their product. So then further you will be paid commission for the promotion of the products. So this is one easy way wherein you can contact a lot of brands easily, wherein you can enroll yourself to any of the programs. They don't charge anything on the first place. So you become part of it, and whenever it is possible for you, or there is some product which you think you can promote, you take up that product and you start promoting that product. So this is how the affiliate marketing companies are there, popular companies are there. Of course, other than that, you can yourself take up any program, or you can yourself start up promoting products yourself. You can start reviewing products on your channel. So that would be the first step, I would say, that where you are starting to promote a product or review products which are in your hand or which you buy yourself. And after that, the company might come up to you and they may ask you to review their products, and from there you can learn or you can earn. So with this, we are aware of what it is all about, affiliate marketing. And we discussed about how does it work. We discussed that this is the way in which I can be part of it. Now the next question is how actually the entire process is working. So this is the entire process of the revenue model through which you can earn. First of all, what you do is you create your social media account. I mean, you don't need to create it. You already have your social media accounts. So what you do is you prepare your account for these affiliate marketing services. And how do you prepare for it? As I told you, you start reviewing your products. Start reviewing a few products of your interest. Okay, so remember one thing, you need to take care of one thing, that the kind of subscribers or the viewers or the traffic you get on your website, the kind of product you should review should be dependent upon that. So you get all the details about, the kind of traffic that is entering your account. So you need to take care of that. And on the basis of that, you can start having your, review process. You initiate a review process related to the products which you are interested in. Secondly, you're aware of. You should not enter into promoting a product which you are not even aware of, you're not yourself interested in, because that looks fake. So nobody will be interested in buying. And you here, the entire thing is built upon trust, most important characteristic. So first of all, when you start promoting a product, reviewing a product, you get connected to either a affiliate program, as we talked about. So you are a part of any affiliate program, or you were being asked by any individual advertiser to promote a product. Now, when you're promoting that product, on your social media, they give you a link. So in your account, when you are promoting the product, they always talk about it, that there is a link in the description box. So that link in the description box is a link which is given by the company, which is a tracking link. So when you promote the product, and if the customer who has been watching your video like the product, will click on that link, the company is able to track that link. And there are various ways in which they pay you back. They can either help you, they can only pay you for the leads, they can pay you for the other things which we will be talking about. And then the customer, when clicks on that tracking link, which is connected to your affiliation, will buy the product, purchase the product, and as soon as the transaction takes place for the company, you get your commission. So this is the way the affiliate program is working. It is being widely used. We watch all those videos. We sometimes see the link in the description box, and if we find it interesting, because this is one person I really like, and he talks about the fitness, he talks about health products. So I feel I trust that person, so I go and click on the description box and I buy the product from there. So if you're not clicking on that link and you're buying it again later on from some other site, then that, of course, it doesn't work. But if the person who has given the description, the link there, you click on it, you get paid for it. So this is how basically you earn from an affiliate marketing. So other than that, these are the ways through which you can earn in affiliate marketing. You are paid per click, like I talked about. Somebody clicked on the description box link when you have displayed the product. They click on it, you get paid. You get paid for the leads. Like, for example, somebody clicked on it, or they filled a feedback form, they filled a review form, they clicked on the newsletter, they filled their details, something like that. Is if it is happening, they visited the website. In both these cases, they did not make any purchase, but they entered the website and they saw the product, right? So you can get paid for that as well. And of course, pay per purchase also is the commission available for the person who is doing the affiliate marketing. So this is the way which we, with this particular affiliate marketing model works. So cost per acquisition, like somebody was asking about, the model of revenue model about it. So so basically affiliate marketing model is basic performance based model, wherein cost per acquisition is the criteria which they consider. Wherein when we talk about cost per acquisition, basically we also talk about the cost of acquiring a customer. So on the basis of that only they pay. There are various other models as well, but I'm just talking about CPA. There are other models as well which can be used, but it is entirely a performance based model, wherein you get paid on the basis of this strategy. So let's have a quick break. I hope, we have sufficient time for, I have a very small interesting activity, not very difficult, which we can of course have. If you can visit any of your social media account, all of you have your accounts there. And if you can take a screenshot of the affiliate or a person whose product did you ever purchased or will purchase or ever were interested in, and you clicked on the link and entered the description box. So I will give you, I think I can give you 4 or 5 minutes. It will hardly take that much of time.
Yes, Dr. Anjali?
Yeah.
Yes, could you wind up in 5 minutes?
Yeah. I will wind up in 5 minutes. Yeah. Of course, I will wind up in 5 minutes.
Please.
So I will ask you to take, this particular description of affiliate media, people who are basically interested in it. So there are different types of affiliate media channels, which are there: email marketing and bloggers and influencers, paid search focus microsites. They are all there. You can visit them. These are the different ways in channels through which you can do affiliate marketing. So I will not be talking about the steps in which you yourself can enter into a program, because we don't have sufficient time, but we have to take care of a few other things as well. That is affiliate scrubbing and affiliate shaving. That these are the two parameters. It is not as easy as it seems, because sometimes the advertisers take out the bad leads. You don't get paid for everything, so there are bad leads also, so you will be scrubbed out of that. So affiliate scrubbing is also there, and affiliate shaving is also there. So some other affiliate network shaves off the leads you have made. So there were two people promoting similar products, so this can happen. So I have added a few slides over here talking about people who have been promoting different influencers. I have taken a few screenshots from my so here Mr. G Salal, who is a good influencer. He promotes my protein products a lot. So this is one example. We can see that the people are promoting through affiliate marketing. This is one good example. They provide discount coupons. So this is he's promoting a product and he's talking something else in the video, but he's promoting a product with some sort of discount. Okay, so this is a way. And this is also a blogger who is promoting a product. And there are a lot of influence these people have made, like vitamin C soap she's promoting. This person also, Gaurav Daneja, we all might have seen him very well on the YouTube channels, that he promotes a lot of products like this. And then we have the cheese. In this video, she's doing an alcohol, but still she's promoting another product, which is Upstock Gold account. So in this account, in this video, she's promoting two different products of her interest. So, these are some of the examples of Instagrams wherein, the influencers are promoting products. Okay, so if we talk about the affiliate industry in India, we have seen that it is an industry which is growing, and we see that there are billions of people it is a very huge industry, and by 2025 it will grow into 835 billion. It is being estimated by Tata Strategic Group Management. So we need to keep a note on a lot of things when we talk about affiliate marketing, that we need to focus upon building trust. We need to brush up our basic marketing skills. If you think that it is easy, it is not easy. If you have to brush upon your marketing skills. It is not easy to retain and attract the viewers, and you have to focus upon building upon your own niche and the current trends which the people will be following you. Other than that, you have to take care of all the model factors and value systems wherein we can, beware of the false advertising and, unknown logos on the products. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your interesting and insightful presentation. I would request respected participant, if you have any question, just put in the chat box. Meanwhile, we are joined by our next speaker, Professor Prasenjit Biswas. I would request Dr. Devendra to kindly present. Yes. Yes, thank you. Yes, Professor Prasenjit Biswas needs no introduction at all. His philosophical thinking is groundbreaking. He is a post-structuralist philosopher. He teaches philosophy at Northeastern Hill University, Shillong, India. His area includes continental philosophy, philosophy of mind, philosophy of tribes. He has about 20 years of teaching experiences. His research interests reflects an interdisciplinary orientation that includes philosophy, ethnicity, and indigenous identities. He is also a human rights defender who works with direct human right protection committee, culture, and he has in number of publications and articles in reputed and popular newspaper. So now I would like to invite him to give a talk on the very topic, arguments from Francis Lurwel's against the digital, implication for moral economy. Sir, over to you. Sir, kindly unmute. Sir, you are muted. Yes, please
Yes,
unmute.
yes. So
Yes.
sorry. Good morning to everyone, especially to my dear friend Randir. It's because of him that I'm here. And he noticed a kind of an article that I wrote for Pioneer, as well as it was published in People's Review, a version where I tried to critique digital market, you know, from the point of view of what is called moral economy or moral economics. You know. And the article basically gave three arguments. You know, before I get to my main topic, I'll just, in few words, I'll just try to tell you my perspective on digital market. One of the argument is that digital market is open to all kinds of security threats, especially the privacy, which is the most fundamental of the human rights, or which is fundamentally the most basic aspect of constitution of a human being, which differentiates human beings from other non-human beings. The notion of privacy. The notion of privacy undergoes a major onslaught because human beings are reduced to data sets, and human beings are connected as metadata. And this metadata is open to a large number of Internet of Things, meaning connected machines, you know, and also it is open to what is called deep learning in terms of programming and genetic programming at this point of time. So the picture that emerges here is that the human person reduced to a mere data set is open to the invasive nature of digital programming, in terms of genetic programming, in terms of a certain kind of a traffic, in terms of its exposure to malicious and undesirable forms of data, and thereby creating a condition of cognitive distortion, a condition of some kind of revulsion, some kind of tendentiousness, and all such possible forms of immoral kinds of act, for which the person concerned is not himself an agent, but being caught in a network, the person concerned becomes part of a network and thereby becomes part of a larger economic chain that will now decide the place and the role of the person. So therefore, the basic notion of privacy goes out of the window in such a networked situation of a data set in which the person becomes only a node. So this is one argument. The second argument is that the current rules, the new internet rules that the government of India has proposed, or such rules that are in existence in many other countries, actually demands that the private form of communication now be decrypted, now be made open to the inspection and surveillance by the state agencies. Now, this is just a minuscule part of surveillance. The larger part of surveillance is that being part of this connected network, the data and various kinds of behavioral aspects of the human being is already open to a larger network of surveillance, which is global and through which so many things are transacted: the digital cash, the Bitcoin, the blockchain, the cognitive supply chain, and all such things are happening in that network, where a simple human being is just sending some messages by using this data highway, is now caught into this huge network of entities about which the human being may not have any knowledge. But at the same time, the human being is transformed and sort of inducted into this network, even without consent. So therefore, the human being remains open to attacks from the network of robotic robotic wares. Some of it is ransomware, some of it is other kinds of malicious software and hardware, and thereby the human being loses the usual place and the position and the kind of autonomy with which one has joined that kind of a network. So digital market opens up these possibilities of a reconfigured digital world in which the human being completely loses the autonomy. So this was the thing that I wrote in the article. And I drew this conclusion that it's not just surveillance. Surveillance is just one minuscule part of it. But the larger part of it is being part of the larger possibility of a botnet attack, the attack by robots, and robots manipulating your identity, reconfiguring your identity in different kinds of shapes and making use of it for different undesirable purposes for which you have not granted any consent. And therefore, the whole idea of privacy, the whole notion of autonomy, the whole idea of personality, in terms of which we define the very human being, is now at stake. It requires a redefinition, or it requires a certain kind of a reassertion of the sovereignty of the human being in this reconfigured digital world, which comes through digital marketing. And human beings do take part because it gives them incentives, it gives them profits, it develops certain kind of economic and social activities which are desirable. But at the backdrop of this desirable part of social and economic activity, there's this huge, undesirable, immoral economy of being trapped and caught into an immoral transaction on which the human being doesn't have a role. The transaction is decided by the network itself. Now, this entire situation had been very nicely conceptualized by a living French philosopher, François Laruelle. François Laruelle is a very significant French philosopher for his work on what he calls a world without us. How would the world be without us? That's one question. The question is not framed from a doomsday perspective, but the question is framed from the perspective of we losing our sense of humanity, our sense of belonging into this peculiar domain called human, in which we conceptualize ourselves as a us in terms of a human solidarity. Once that is totally taken over, by automated beings, by constructed softwares, or by genetic programs, which takes care of every aspect of human life in terms of the medical records, the records of births and deaths, the necessity for consuming medicines, or to keeping oneself fit. In every aspect of it, the digital network takes over the very frame of being human, or the very constitution of being human, without being a part of it, but at the same time catching up the human being as if catching the human being as a fly in a trap, in a dragnet of the entire digital network. So the world, how it would look like without us, once we are caught into that kind of a digital network, is the question that François Laruelle poses. And he argues in so many different ways by saying that this kind of a network actually is like a ghost in the machine, he would say. The digital actually requires some form of transcendental, which goes missing. The transcendental that the digital form or this digital world requires is not the footprint of the divine or not the footprint of the supernatural, but in terms of principles and values, a realm of principles that can govern, regulate the digital world. But this regulation is peculiarly human. So in a sense, the values that should regulate the digital world must be human. But the very character of the digital world is to shear off everything that is human, everything that is connected peculiar to human sentiments and emotions, and to turn humans rather into a node of the digital world, and thereby shearing off the humanity of the human, and thereby continuously creating a procedure by which the humanity, the human values, the potential form of principles, laws, ideals by which the digital world could have been regulated into mere software, into mere programs, and programs which have no capacity to resist the invasion by malware, or programs which has no capacity to hold on to the privacy of the human. So therefore, it's a very peculiar kind of a reduction of the human being, and that's where against the digital comes in. What is against the digital is this peculiar reduction of the human into a non-being, into a mere unit, into a mere kind of a cog in the wheel, into a mere data point, a data point which is dissociated from the control of the human, which is disconnected from human emotions, which is also not conveying the kind of linguistic relation that a human society fundamentally provides for. Rather, this reduction into data point only puts the human beings in a traffic of flow of data, and it supplies the data in the digital market by completely annihilating all forms of human intentionality. The kind of human intentionality that data can carry, is something like ghost in the machine, that metaphor that Descartes had once used, which simply means that human being is captured, is possessed by a ghost, and human sensibility, whatever human sensibility brings in, on which human consciousness has no control, and whatever human senses, human cognitive mechanism brings as knowledge or as information, on which the human being has no control, and which just comes as if, a ghost is creating all these impressions, all these images, all this data about the world. So human beings are reduced to that status of ghost in the machine. The moment human beings are reduced to a mere point in the data set, Laruelle points this out fantastically, that human cognition would no longer matter. Even if you are able to distinguish between good traffic and bad traffic, even if you are able to distinguish between a laudable purpose and a purpose which is creative, which is totally destructive, immoral, this distinction has no value, because the flow of data, the transactions that will happen in the digital world will not carry the value of this distinction in the process of transaction. So this process of transaction acquires almost a kind of an immanent space without anything transcendental into it. So what Laruelle is basically trying to say is that without the possibility of the transcendence, human beings becomes ghosts in the machine, in the digital world, But then some people may give a counter argument by saying that whatever human brain does and the cognitive faculty does, by analogy, the digital network also functions in the same way. It computes faster. It gives us certain better predictive kind of reasoning, and it can create some new products in a manner that it serves our sense of utility in a better way than what the human artisan would have created. So therefore, the argument would be it's a relation of analogy between the human beings and the digital world. But is that relation of analogy tenable and sustainable is the question Francois Laruelle is asking. It's like there is a certain kind of a digital relation that is created between the human being and the digital network. It's a relationship of analogy. But this relationship of analogy is just a conjuration. It's conjured up by drawing a parallel between the human cognitive framework and the mechanism of intelligence that a digital network carries with it. So it's a kind of a relation of analogy which is conjured up. Now, this conjured up relationship, must have something transcendental. It must transcend the conditions of its own being. It must transcend the fact of its own alienation from the human world. Therefore, the two most important aspects of transcendental must get qualified in this conjured up digital relation. At one level, it must transcend the conditions of its own being. Can the digital being transcend the conditions of its own being? Can the digital being declare itself as autonomous? Can the digital being define its own purposes and goals as if it is autonomous? Because it cannot declare its purposes as autonomous, as carrying a certain amount of free will with it. Therefore, it would be a dangerous idea to conceive digital relation as something real instead of being conjured up. So therefore, the digital being cannot overcome the conditions of its own being. Rather, the conditions of its own being get truncated, manipulated, and it gets a certain kind of a digitalized representation, which is in the form of some kind of a movement. It can be a cinematic movement, as Giles Deleuze would have talked about. He would talk about an impersonal, uniform, abstract, invisible, or imperceptible digital movement of the digital being, where the movement of the inner processes of the digital being remains imperceptible to the human being. And therefore, the analogy of the relation between the human being and the digital world falls apart because the inner functioning of the digital model remains imperceptible. What remains perceptible is what the digital model brings out in the form of something conceivable and something perceivable, which is like the end products. So therefore, products become important, but the process of production and the process of reproduction goes to a certain kind of opacity or invisibility. And therefore, the digital being is not able to overcome the conditions under which it becomes digital. While human beings are always able to overcome the conditions under which it becomes human, and therefore it can establish a conjured up digital relationship with the digital network. The argument may look a little complicated here, but this is something like assuming, or imaging a certain kind of homogeneous substratum for the digital being. Whether that homogeneous substratum really exists. Like in Deleuze, Deleuze's notion about cinema, where Deleuze is talking about so many frames per minute. In the same way, the digital being conceives itself as so much of bytes, per milliseconds or per tetrasecond, and these bytes, has to be translated in terms of data sets, and data sets be further translated in terms of information, and at the end of which you receive the idea of a product. It's really something that grows like a plateau, as Deleuze would say in his book, 1,000 Plateaus. It describes an electronic image, or the regime of an electronic image, which is subsumed under the notion of a product. And therefore, it's a kind of an extrapolation. It's not simply a medium rooted in a digital frame, but it's a medium rooted in digitality of the product, which is not entirely computational, but it is something that grows out of the coordination and analogization and transduction or some such digital relations between one network and another network, conjuring itself up in the form of what in 1,000 Plateaus Deleuze called as a rhizome. So therefore, it has to take time and space, our sense of experience of time and space, as something independent of the network itself. And that is another interesting problem, because the virtual image of time and space that the digital network creates, only can produce a virtual world of experiences. Now, whether that virtual world of experiences can figure a flesh and blood experience, because that becomes very important. What is experienced in the digital world in a virtual mode, it can include human beings, it can include any other subject, any other entity, but these entities do not have a sense of transcendence, that gives them an identity. They just remain embedded in the frames, in the images, in the virtual image of time and space, creating a virtual sense of experience without creating a sense of space or time in which the human being can be located. And therefore, this kind of a virtuality is irreducible to the human sense of space and time. And therefore, this virtuality is something which is typical of the digital. And this typical digital and virtual sense of virtuality lacks, it lacks something. It fundamentally lacks the flesh and blood. It fundamentally conjures up the flesh and blood of human being just as data, the new object of virtuality, And this object remains as an object in view, but an object which is not connected to something in reality. The real, can never return in this form of virtuality. And therefore, the real would stand by as something that is liminal, something that is analogously connected, but something that remains outside, and something that remains outside has this transcendence, while something that is inside, it is just immanent without any transcendence. So therefore, there is a huge disjunction here, and Laruelle calls this disjunction, as the black universe, of the digital world, And then this is like Laruelle gives a metaphor, this black universe of the digital world, which has everything that you have in the real world, minus the flesh and blood of the real, minus that sense of experience. But at the same time, it can produce a virtual experience. And this is something like a black universe. And this is something that Laruelle now describes. It's something like a rocket. It's something like a rocket that refuses to blast off or to lend, but somehow flickers directly into the blackness of the deep space of virtual, the deep space of the virtual, which has a depth in it. It's not just three-dimensional or four-dimensional. It has a variety of dimensional properties, all in terms of virtual, lacking a sense of being in it, but at the same time assuming the sense of a deep space in the virtual. And therefore, Laruelle goes on to say that the rocket passes through infinite distances. Rocket is a metaphor. You can replace rocket by the idea of an image or of data or of something like a virtual entity or of a part of the genetic program in terms of which you conceptualize the deep space itself. So the rocket passes through the infinite distances. Let it jump over the cosmic barrier and enter into the hyperspace of the universe. Let your rockets become the subject of the universe and be present every point of the remote. Now, Laruelle's every point of presence of the remote, is something like present at every point of time. Then Kant or Deleuze would be talking about. Now, how is the rocket present? How is this entity present in the deep space of the virtual? What is the nature of this present? Now, this is a pandemonium. Laruelle would say this is a pandemonium. The question represents a pandemonium because it is present, the rocket is present. The digital representation is present in the deep space of the virtual, but it doesn't appear to be the space. It appears only as virtual without having the space, the sense of space in it, without having the sense of the temporal in it. Because as it is seen as present, it produces a temporal or a spatial effect on the human being. But this effect remains only virtual without being touched by anything through which the conditions of existence can be mapped onto the virtual. So the virtual escapes or eludes the conditions of the existence. But here's a debate between Deleuze and Laruelle. Now, Deleuze would say that virtual is real, but Laruelle would never quite say, that the real is virtual. The virtual could be real, of course, at some level. It can be granted a sense of the real. Although that sense of the real, again, brings back the depth of the virtual. It really doesn't connect itself to the conditions of existence. So Deleuze's claim that the virtual is the real, also has this essential component of difference between the virtual and the real, a non-negotiable difference. Wherever there is a non-negotiable difference between an image and another image, between a network and another network, that non-negotiable difference for Deleuze is real. So reality negotiable difference that only multiplies and pluralizes the sense of difference as one moves from one kind of image or one kind of network in the virtual to another kind of image and another kind of network in the virtual. But Laruelle never quite says that the real is virtual. So the real remains as real. It cannot be virtual. The real is left altogether as real outside the realm of the virtual for Laruelle. His preferred description is to say that that's something very interesting. What is real for Laruelle then? His preferred description is to say that the real is in superposition, but nevertheless the real while remaining immanent to itself, is present at every point, and thus, in some basic sense, because the real is present at every point, so in a basic sense, this presence of the real at every point, can become virtual as well, because the real is present in some way or the other. But in the virtual, the real is not present. The real is present in the real. And therefore, real can become virtual in the real, but virtual cannot become virtual in the real. Virtual can become virtual in the virtual. The real can become virtual in the real. So this sharp distinction between two layers of reality, the layer of the virtual, which can remain virtual in the virtual, and cannot come down to the real, while the real can turn itself into virtual in the sense of the real, because its presence at every point of time, the presence of entities, objects of the real world at every point of time, is something virtual. Because we can think of the continuance of an object, in time, in space, and what we are thinking of as continuance is virtual, although such continuance cannot be experienced simultaneously with their continuous presence in time and space. The continuity of presence, becomes virtual. But continuity arises from the presence or the present presence of something. From there, the continuity arises. Now, in the virtual world, you cannot have continuity of the virtual, because the virtual itself has to blip into something virtual. It cannot come down to something that is real, something that is continuous. And therefore, there can only be, Laruelle would say, that the real can never be in a relationship with the virtualities of the virtual. The real cannot crop up in the relationship of the virtuality of the virtual, and therefore there is nothing like force and counterforce in the virtual, as Deleuze would like to talk about. It's something like this that Laruelle further says about photograph, a photograph which is bloated, which is deepened, which is possible by use of the AI. You can have a deep fake of mine, and you can have a deep fake clone of mine who is speaking the same thing of Laruelle, but this deep fake photo, which presents me as a virtual entity, let's say, is without my photo. There is a photo of mine, but that's not my photo in the virtual. Deleuze speaks about it. So therefore, there is this deep digitality that Laruelle talks about in the virtual, which results from the reduplicating multiplexes, in the deep fake of my photo, which is not me, but my photo, which is without me and without the photo as well, but it's a deep fake that exists in the virtual space and time without being present as a continuous presence, as it happens in space and time when a photograph is taken, as a mark of its continuity of the objects of the photograph, which is completely missing in terms of continuity, in terms of a kind of a transcendence of its very condition of existence. That photograph captures, a person or an object, even if it is inexistent. So that kind of a relationship with the actual inexistent cannot happen in the virtual world. So therefore, whatever comes in the virtual world can become inexistent, because it cannot assume present at every point of time. It will become inexistent, but at the same time, it will not be an actual inexistent. And that's what we call as some kind of multiplexing of the subject. And therefore, instead of a single point view scanning a multiplicity of image feeds, Deep digitality is always a question of multiplicity, an infinity of points of view of flanking and flooding the world viewed. There are not so much matrices of screens, but matrices of visions. They are something like meshes deployed across cities, across various spaces like airports, and the multiple data points provided involves data mining, the virtual camera, or the fly-through mode, as in a CAD software, or in crowdsourced swarms that converges on a target. Again, it is the being that has suffered into this multiplexing. These are no longer images in any traditional sense, not the collage of flat digitality. Deep digitality is para-photographic, more sculpture or theater than anything else. All like music, perhaps, with its penchant for multiple voices. Now, it's a kind of a reverse panopticon with a multiplicity of watchers, all of whom are collaborating to convene upon a singular point. On this score, anyone who says the contemporary world is a vast panopticon has the facts of matter exactly backward. So this vast panopticon of surveillance, used through a network of CCTV cameras, zooming on particular targets and producing these targets as an image or an entity in the virtual feeds in a digital network, becomes itself a product. And it's a kind of a reverse watching now. You reversely watch from these images to the actual location of the human. And this reverse watching or reverse directionality of your gaze to the world from the image, which is created by a multiplex, is a reverse panopticon. And therefore the cybernetic world now, becomes a reverse panopticon. There is no such cybernetic control on the world in the digital kind of a platform. And the condition of cellularity of the digital world, the various cell points of the digital world, which is a kind of a combination, or which is combinatorial, which merges data and which separates data, is something like creating a kind of a cellular subject, the watcher or the watchman, if you like. Through this cellularity of data points, the subject becomes a watcher, Whereas in the flat digitality, the object is cellular, which is the watched. The object now is an Euclidean point, The object that is watched in reverse is an Euclidean point, While the subjective points of view have metastatized into the multiplexes of the digital world. So you have this metastatic subject points in your reverse gazing upon the world. So digital world is inverting the human gaze completely. The gaze cannot be any more directed to the world, as Heidegger was trying to say about the animal gaze, that the animal gaze simply looks at the world. It doesn't see. There is nothing like seeing, in the world, but it's only lurking. But here in the digital world, it's a game between the watcher and the watched. The watched is an object point, but the watcher is a dispersed subjectivity in the digital world. Therefore, there is something like a very different kind of ontology, it's apotheotic or apotheosis of an ontology. It really inverts the ontology of the human. And it creates a kind of a digitally rendered universe, which is viewable from all sides. and which is modeled from all angles, and which is predictable under all variable conditions. So therefore, there is this modular coupling of things coming together in a kind of an enchained relationship, which are never linear. So therefore, the points of watching and the watched, is never linear. Rather, it's a network process. And this network process violates the direct human intentionality of gazing towards the world. The embodied form of human relations is violated in this kind of a digital enframing, of the world into multiplexes, into deep digital entities, which do not exude any kind of continuity, which lacks the quality of transcendence, but at the same time exist as pure data points without any baggage attached to it, as it would have been in the case of a human being with a baggage of memory, cognition, intelligence, and overall human relations, which are all
Excuse
shown
me,
off
sir.
into
Hello.
the data points that is created in the multiplexes. Yes, Randir, are you saying anything? Yeah.
Yes. Please be brief. Maybe in 5 minutes, if you can conclude. 5 to 10
I've
minutes.
seen the message. I'm concluding.
Okay, thank you.
Correct. So there is this kind of a, I would say, a kind of an unmediated relationship between the digital world and the human world. And it is multi-layered, and it is a kind of a non-actualization of the human potential. The actual human potential is now reduced to something like a dot-com universe, which is only virtual, and it prevents a return to the discrete human world. It creates a kind of a it creates an absence of any substratum. It creates an absence of an identity, and it produces swarm of difference, and an unovercomable sense of the multiple, which is a massive multiple, and therefore something reflexive becomes impossible. No one can interrogate the analog and the digital relations in order to bring back the human qualities that are supposed to be constitutive and which is supposed to create a sense of decision. So Laruelle would say that in this digital world, the notion of relation never means something to be brought back. Nothing can be brought back in the digital world. Whatever the digital world is constructing is only for a certain kind of an open window. It can never be brought back. It can never be connected back to the world. So therefore, it will be impossible to return to the world as being, and therefore it will only be a set of virtual relations which are a kind of immaterial processes and which are to be invaded from all sides using cyberware, using even some kind of a robot technology, which gets amplified. The robot technology will get an amplified kind of a situation here. And in amplification of this robot technology, there could be some kind of a robotization, which is something like deploying mechanized mannequin, in place of workers. It will only convey some kind of standardization and repetition, and the task will be found and replicated. And therefore, in our daily lives, digitality would create a kind of dominance over our daily habits, and it will remove the habits like stepping out of bed or making a cup of coffee or turning on the computer even. And human hankering for habit will become totally pathological because it will lose all its connectivity, all its necessity, and it will be only getting connected to the digital world of creating a kind of a abundance of work, so that everything is decided now by work and not by something that is humanly possible. So it's a non-actualization of human potential that Laruelle talked about in so many words. So therefore, it will become a rule of machines, a rule of automata, and automata further automatized and further taking over all the human habits. And therefore, these are the major arguments. And the implication for moral economy is that the human sentiments, the moral sentiments, the sentiments of redistribution, public good, doing more justice in terms of having equality, equity, etc. All those democratic values all find an easy space in this digital inversion of the world into a digital pathway. So therefore, this is a recipe for trapping the whole society into some kind of a open future, where by implication the human beings are reduced to some future automata without any sense of autonomy, and they will just be programmed to something that is defined as positive or negative, and they can be driven towards some kind of clinically assisted reasoning, computer assisted reasoning, that will completely disrupt the way the human beings connect things and build up a reason. And we can never evade such a peril. So therefore, this introduction of a new kind of disruption or a rupture in the relationship between man and machine will create a kind of a hubris. It will create a kind of a hubris, a kind of a digital overreach that will eat into the very sense of sharing a common good or a larger common public good, and instead create a sense of being decimated, attenuated into some kind of a melted, disintegrated, and collapsed sense of being human, which is rather uncanny. And it will be only a kind of a digital appearance, which pervades no appearance of the flesh and blood. And therefore, we will confront a future on which we will have no roles. Rather, the entire future will be taken over by what Laruelle talks about death, talks about the ghost in the machine. And this kind of a future is peeping onto the stage. And at this moment, we cannot establish how we are connected to the possible future of this kind that is arising from the digital world. I think with this word, I'll end here. Randir, it's up to
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much for brilliant presentation and very insightful presentation. And since you are a professionally post-structuralist, so you deconstructed the word, the concept digital in a very great manner. Thank you so much. Since we are running out of the time, now I would like to invite questions. So respected participant, kindly be brief in your asking question. If we don't have any question, then I would like to invite.
Yes.
Yes,
Randir, if I may.
Yes, please. You.
Oh yeah, Ananta Bhai, I can see. Okay, good. Yes, please. Yes. Very nice to see you. Yes.
Namaskar, keman achen?
Thik achi, cholche.
I was so happy to hear that Randir is your dear friend. He's also our dear friend.
Sure.
So it's a very deep presentation, and I am just a very early, entrant to this field of discourse. So my query burns out of that initial condition. So very interesting. But if we begin with Laurel's perspective of non-philosophy,
Mhm.
which is basically a critique of an a priori, construction of anything. So
Mhm.
is it not that the digital world also requires a kind of an open non-philosophical, in terms of its reality and possibilities? And my second query is that in terms of network, now there are varieties of networks, in social sciences, we have social networks and digital network, and also to relate it to themes like networks of agape, that Charles Taylor, the philosopher, talks about, building upon Christian tradition. So in a kind of a radical border crossing sense of thinking or imagining, can we think about the possible dialogue between digital network and some kind of realities and possibilities of networks of agape? And that brings me to the two second queries, that the relationship between the digital and the divine in an open sense, and the transcendental, I request a little elaboration on the nature of the transcendental that Laurel elaborates, but a possible conversation between digital and the divine and also nature, because all said and done, the digital network is it totally isolated from nature, or it is somehow, it has some grounding in nature, understood in a very broad way? So what is Laurel's reflection on nature?
Yes, I mean, this is the main argument of
Mhm.
Laruelle, because Laruelle is talking against the digital, primarily because the digital totally transforms the natural into something non-natural, something artificial. So the digital world makes a transition from the natural to the artificial. And the impact of this transition is what bothers Laruelle very, very much. So therefore, whether the artificial intelligence can be grounded in the natural form of intelligence, whether there is a convergence and interface between the biological, natural, and the genetically programmed artificial intelligence, is a very significant question, which is discussed everywhere in literature. So one of the point of discussion that I found is very interesting in Laruelle, when Laruelle is talking about the idea of automatizing, the automatic, the automatic or the artificial needs to be automatized. The need for automatization actually breaks and breaches the relationship that you have between the human being and the natural world, or the relationship that is conceived to be, some kind of a mirror image relationship between the human and the digital. Now, these relationships, which ground us in the natural world, which becomes part of the larger ecosystem, gets disrupted in the sense that the artificial intelligence takes over all this relationship and tries to then alter the nature of the relationship. How it alters this nature of the relationship can be understood in terms of the possibility of the transcendental. In the artificial world, can the God exist? In the artificial world, can the nature exist? In the artificial world, can the animal, can the human beings exist? Or can the world exist in the artificial world? And that's where Laruelle says it's an ontological inversion. It's a para-ontological process, which denies both the ontic and the ontological. The ontic form of existence is totally surpassed, but then an ontological or a theoretical understanding of the ontic could have surpassed the ontic. But here, the ontic is surpassed by digital turning of the world into some deep digital entities which lack any sense of permanence, any sense of temporalization or any quality that being has in terms of becoming. So both being and becoming gets upturned in the digital world, and the moment it gets automatized, it creates a kind of an inversion. Now, from this automatized world of information space, you try and look at the world back, and when you look back at the world, you do not see any longer these established relationship, historical and cultural, between the human and the nature, or human and the artificial. These relations get blurred and get sort of excised in a certain way by the artificial. And so therefore, it's a total reconfiguration of the world that lacks the transcendental. It has no sense of the external or internal. It doesn't recognize itself as also carrying or bearing a certain sense of identity. So therefore, bereft of all these relations, which are phenomenological, which are based on identity, which are based on a sense of transcendence, or based on even the relationship between immanence and transcendence, the digital world becomes one-dimensional, only becoming radically immanent. And then radically immanent digital world doesn't purvey anything that is human. It fails to represent. The real remains totally absent there. It can never become real. That's what Laruelle points out, and therefore Laruelle is against the digital. Now, this argument, has to be then mapped into our present situation. In the present situation, we may try to regulate and control the digital world, but the danger is that any control on the digital world also becomes a breach on the privacy that the digital world itself does. The control mechanism does it in a more enhanced fashion. So therefore, we really do not have this control on the digital world, given that the world is becoming more and more digitally connected. Okay, Ananta Bhai, I think I'm giving you a narrative answer to all your questions.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for asking this question. Yeah.
Dr. Suneet Madan, if you have any comment, you can share.
I am spellbound by the analogies that have been given by Dr. Biswas. I was actually, since we work in the field of artificial intelligence as well, and clubbing it with the augmented reality and virtual reality. So thinking about the statement which Dr. Biswas made, that virtual cannot become virtual in the real, but only in the virtual world. Amazing. I mean, that's hit me. Something which we actually push across. There are some ideas which we use, and we are trying to analyze those. And I think this is one part of crux of his research which has come out. And thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you. I would love to hear more.
Yes,
and
we'll have another session on the very idea of digital, deconstructing digital, because the digital
I think it really requires a separate.
Yes, it's about
it requires an absolutely different
unit of things.
True.
Yeah, thank you so much for this insightful
division
comment.
of thing. The digital requires division of things. It has to separate something that is undivided and make it divided. So it's a very I think we begin our digital workshop understanding social media space and marketing, and now we are end up on the very complex question of digital itself. So we are ending the session by underlying the philosophical insights behind the digital in particular and digital marketing in general. So I think we are running out of the time, so we have time constraint. Now I would like to invite Dr. Devendra to give.
So I take your leave. I take your leave, and I thank everyone.
Thank you.
Randir,
Thank you so much.
kindly excuse me. Huh?
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Bye. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. So am I audible?
Thank you.
Okay, namaste everybody present here. I'm Dr. Devendra K. Tiwari, Assistant Professor of English at Raffles University, Nimrana. It's my honor and privilege to extend this vote of thanks on this August moment. I would like to thank Mr. Randhir Gautam sir. He's head of School of Humanities and Social Sciences and convener of this 2 days workshop. Sir, it was really a wonderful workshop, and definitely the conclusion of the last phase was mesmerizing. Now, on behalf of School of Humanities and Social Sciences, Raffles University, Nimrana, Rajasthan, India, and Raise Global Foundation, USA, I would like to thank our distinguished guest and resource person of this second days of ongoing 2 days workshop on digital marketing. Dr. Suneet Madan, ma'am, she's a joint director, C-DAC, Mohali, for her very insightful presentation on the topic digital art. Dr. Anju Singh, an assistant professor at IIS, Jaipur, for her very informative presentation on the topic affiliate marketing. And the last speaker of today's workshop, Professor Prasenjit Biswas sir, who is a professor at NEHSU, Shillong, for his excellent and very balanced critique of digital world, which with his presentation on the topic arguments from Francois laurels against the digital implications for digital economy. Definitely, I bow head with gratitude to the resource person of this 2 days workshop on digital marketing, who graced us with their benign presence and their deep insights on different aspects of digital marketing, which were very apt and relevant to the theme of the workshop. We are very grateful to our chief patron, revered Dr. Justice Meena Vigombar ma'am, for being the source of inspiration and motivation for organizing such kind of events. I must extend my vote of thanks to Deepika Dave, the CEO of Raise Global Foundation USA, for being the source of motivation and inspiration. I extend my sincere thanks to Professor Goli, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Raffles University. I would like to extend my vote of thanks to deans, heads, and my colleagues at Raffles University for their kind cooperation. I shall be failing my duty if I fail to express my gratitude to the sincere participants from all over the world. I would also like to extend my vote of thanks to my dear students for their active participation. And how can I forget to express my gratitude to my dear students Priya for her commendable invocation by her art of dancing. Last but not the least, I would like to thank our convener, Professor Randhir Gautam sir, for organizing and executing such a wonderful workshop. I congratulate you, sir. And finally, thanks a lot to everybody present here. I wish you all a very happy time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So it's time to say goodbye. So bye, namaste, thank you. Thank you so much.